home is the only place. Dinosaur can be in the Jurassic World. When the dinosaur steps out, from home outside, it goes in a tuxedo. My favorite character is Shakuni. Krishna and Shakuni. But why Krishna and Shakuni? Somewhere I feel they knew what to do. Communication skills, purpose, plan A, plan B, and all these things. They were clear about the ultimate. What I have seen is everyone, they are carrying a challenge, one story, a painful story, and a happy story. Most of the time in mothers, what I see is I don't see the healing story in them.
Hi, I'm Neha. My guest today is a storyteller, mompreneur, trainer, mentor, and podcaster. Meera Barath explores the many facets of storytelling, from life experiences and characters in Mahabharata to coping with failure, accepting change with grace, and manifesting happiness. On this Expression podcast, the multi-talented Meera takes us through her journey of why she quit a corporate job after her daughter was born, how motherhood taught her invaluable lessons, and the sheer joy of storytelling to help people rediscover themselves. Hi Meera, thank you for coming to the Expression podcast. We're really happy to have you here, and such amazing and impressive work. Thank you for joining us today. So you left your big job at HCL, Flipkart, and you started your own thing. Big decision, right? So how did that happen?
Yeah. So first of all, I wish to say thank you so much, Neha. It's my pleasure to be here, and thanks for the invitation. Quitting a corporate job usually is a big thing. I mean, yes, it's something where we prepare so much for the interviews to get through the selection round and to be there. And I have worked with around 4 to 5 companies also. So when I felt motherhood, or rather Ammahood, was looking a bit of out of syllabus to me to grow as a mother to my child, it was all of a sudden decision that I took. And I feel, it's for good today when I think about it. It was hard, but it's just that one action that we take, one step that we take. Yeah. Yes, let me quit. Let me see. If it doesn't happen, let me come back.
Yeah.
So with that thought only, I just
took
kind of
risk.
Quit. Yeah. It is, of course, a risk. Yeah.
So what was the story behind Kappi and Conversation with Meera? I know Kappi means coffee. Yeah.
So I love coffee.
Yeah.
Day before
filter
yesterday
coffee?
Yeah, filter coffee, the authentic one, which we make. 2 days back also, there's some question my husband was asking, what will you have? So she says, what will she have? Just get one flask, fill it with filter coffee. That's enough for her. So that's the connect I have. Because coffee, right from childhood, as a child, we used to call it as kapi at home.
Yeah.
And my father is a kapi lover.
Okay.
If he was upset, mood or something, I used to go to the kitchen and make a coffee and give it to him. And we used to just sit. That pause, and because he is a very charming and kind of a person who jumps around, dances and everything. With the coffee in his hand, he'll be very calm and just listening, and the work is done.
Yeah,
so for me to get a work done, to get a signature on my report card, Kapi used to be the tool. And he wasn't a kind of a person, he won't sign the report card. He was always a very, you need to have good, discipline, values. Marks will come.
Yeah.
I say. So Kapi for me, after he moved on in 2016, actually I didn't have coffee almost for 10 to 12 months because I kind of missed a lot of my appa. And Kapi used to be for me that connect with him. Then after a year when I came again to mom's place, after the formalities and all, she made a coffee and I couldn't say no to her. I had the coffee, that's it. That's when I felt, no, it is something which is part of me. Having more than what is required is harmful, but let me have at least 1 or 2 a day. So that's how the Kapi and Conversation podcast name. Initially, it was Dino in OSS. Yeah. Dinosaur, something I connect to this character a lot because we all of us keep roaring something within us every time. Yeah. It could be it could be something that we want, or it could be an aspiration, or those are unfulfilled desires and interests, or whatever we call it as. So there was some, question Dino and Oasis. Can we change it? So that's when I renamed it as Coffee. Coffee and Conversation is there across. So I thought, okay, let me make it Kapi, because that is what Meera is, Kapi. Matlab.
Yeah.
So Kapi and Conversation is the name. That's how it was born.
So Dino Stories and Kapi and Conversation, are there different subjects that you wanted to address with these two platforms? Or
it helped me to give 3 different names. So
Okay.
because Let's Make Stories Dino is a writing community on Facebook. And Mayaakatha was the first book, and it became the name of the community also. Kapi and Conversation, it was easy for me to give it as a podcast.
Okay.
Name and a tagline, whatever we can call it as,
Happiness, you've mentioned a few things in your book, and I'm going to quote them.
Sure.
Happiness is being in the middle of nowhere at times. Happiness is in accepting that few things recede to come back.
Yeah.
Happiness is in thawing the frozen.
Yeah.
Happiness is that I am the frog.
Yeah.
Can you throw some light on these things? I mean, I found it really interesting. So I thought I must ask you about it.
Thank you so much. I mean, when I think about it, definitely I feel like laughing about it.
Yeah.
This was when I was writing about the 100 days happiness learning.
Yeah.
So one of my friend on Facebook, she was my friend's friend, a virtual friend. She was completing the 100 days happiness.
Yeah, you took up the challenge.
Yes.
I saw that.
And she asked, and I said yes. And I took up the challenge, and I didn't know what to write.
Okay.
So I used to put, first 2 days, I just put a photo, and she was like, this is not done. Then it took a while for me. Okay, fine. I've taken the challenge. I don't want to take my leg back. 98 days more. Should I look at 98 days more, or I'm like happy 98 days? Let me leave it now. So leaving now, it won't be nice. So like a frog, it keeps jumping. It makes that croaking sound, right? So sometimes we, or rather I, why I have to just generalize we as a human. Sometimes I will be like just sitting like a frog, but don't really imagine me sitting like one. I would do that with my daughter, of course, but yeah, like, what do I do? I'm like, sometimes frog will be really quiet, and we're just waiting for the mosquito to come, and then immediately it'll catch hold of it. Sometimes it's not doing anything, it is just sitting. So it's just like that frog, sometimes I keep jumping, or I don't know what to do. The thawing one, it just happened, that's when the challenge started. Happiness learning. I did this exercise twice. 2016, first I did that, and then again in 2018-19 I did that. That's when the book happened.
Yeah.
So it took a extension learning along with happiness, because every day is not happiness. Because when I started this journey, on the 10th day almost, my father was already moving on. And it was only I and him in the hospital room. I asked my brother and Amma to just go out, grab something and come back, because they didn't eat the whole day. So I didn't know what made me see, but I told Appa, I'm writing about happiness. See, I'm sitting next to you. I said, today also I made a post, but I don't know. Then Appa said, I said, I'm writing a book. And he just looked at me for some time, because he was already receding. He was moving on. The organs started failing to function. He just looked at me. His eyes still had that power. Looked at me. He said, bring it to reality. These were the words he said. I just listened like that. Like I said, the seed is sown. I was like, take care. That's it. I'm there or I'm not there. Bring it to reality. He moved on. I didn't cry. Then I opened my laptop. I was working with Payoda Technologies in Coimbatore that time. So I was checking for some mails. I opened the email, and then my tendency to open a Google Doc. So I used to have one blog. I don't remember that name now, but something I started which was a closed one. Okay. So I used to go write and come back. But I didn't want to write on LinkedIn either about this time. So I just started writing, and I didn't know, I started literally crying. So that's when I realized, we thaw so many things and keep it. But only when we, bring it to the room temperature, or when we have to warm it, actually things actually open up. Because when it is thawed, like frozen food, right? It is there. The life, it's a question like life is there, life is also not there. But we thaw it to the room temperature to get life to it. So that's how sometimes certain happiness, like we contain it. We either fear, should I share it or shouldn't I share it? So, that's how, like for me, with my Appa, whatever I shared, that's how the book started flowing into. So sometimes we have to recede from the thoughts. Emotions we definitely cannot recede. I mean, we can cover it up, but we definitely don't recede it.
Yeah.
So it's about coming it back, and got to accept no other way.
Beautiful, actually.
Thank you.
Also, tell us about your friend tagging you on the 100-day Happy Days marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's about Dimitri.
Yes, I mentioned about this gentleman's name in my book also, because when I was doing research, when I was publishing Mayaakatha book, I felt, one is to safeguard ourselves. Like in the HR, we are always safeguarded. Like in the mutual fund market is subject to market risk. Please read the offer document. So disclaimer is something in HR we were always taught. So when I started writing and when I was giving it to the publisher, they said, ma'am, 100 titles. Iske aage something, iske piche you'll have to write. I'm like, bhai, I've written already so much. What do I? So I wrote a thanks for my papa. And here, when I went about searching in Google, I would say thanks to Google Baba, which gives us those answers. So I found this gentleman started is what they say, the thread. So what if in the future, he's like, Meera, I started and you went about publishing. So I think it is important, more than looking at, copyright and all those things is a different thing. But if we acknowledge someone who really started that, we don't know if he really started or after him someone started or before him somebody started, and we only know this gentleman.
But does this work, the 100?
I learned that I haven't gone back, searching about this gentleman, because I that time I did a bit of a, almost like 2-3 days I was just going through. But wherever I go, somewhere, that time the search result showed me that this guy started. So I thought, okay, let me mention whoever it is, whether I'm going to meet him, I'm not going to meet him, whatever it is. Let me at least acknowledge, because I wouldn't have known if my friend didn't tag me. And if my friend has done it, I don't know from where she picked it up. So I thought, let me put this.
But you did take up the challenge, right?
Yes.
And how was it? Any stories behind it?
So many stories.
Anything you want to mention? Which was fun?
Every day is not happiness. Every day. Sometimes, we are just happy for no reason. Sometimes we keep the house so neat and clean, but still there's something in the mind, like something is not done. Like it could be like, for example, one glass on the kitchen slab. The kitchen slab is neat and clean. We want to watch a movie and that one glass on the slab is hitting me hard, like, I haven't cleared it. I haven't cleared it. But sometimes it's like, just ignore that and you watch the movie, right? That's also a bit of a happiness and there's a learning. Because the glass...
Not being that perfectionist.
Exactly. Right? So the glass, literally like this pot, occupies only, like what, 10, not even 10%. Over here it could be. But glass on the kitchen slab is like 5 centimeters of the thing. But we are thinking almost 50,000 kilometers about it. So I felt to learn, when we learn, oh, this is what it is, then it gives a kind of a smile on our face. That's it. That is happiness.
So these lines are from your book, and I actually didn't really get the deep sense of it. So I thought I'll ask you today.
Sure.
You mentioned we think about an illusion as a story woven about our unseen, unheard, and never experienced reality. And reality encapsulated with ignorance and procrastination. What compelled you to write your book, Mayaakatha?
So it was a last words that I shared with my Appa. Even to date, Neha, I'm unable to gather the thoughts what made me tell him that I'm writing a book. But I wrote a book. I told him I'm writing a book. I don't know whether it's a confidence or bold. I don't know. I mean, like, there should be some word, I'm sure, for that. But I just told him I want. It could be a promise. It's a gift for my own self. So,
lovely.
I mean, after I move on, I don't know what is going to be in the name of legacy. But up until I am there, it's something what I created for myself. It is not, I wouldn't call it as an independent work, because it's a collective work. It's like someone who started the trend of 100 days. It was someone who tagged me. It was all the people who commented and shared and reshared what I wrote. And all of them who wrote to me on WhatsApp and message and, asking, it was really good. You finished it. What are you going to do after this? Then it got me back to what I told my Appa. Because I went just with the flow of 100 days. I completed it and I felt so happy. It's something like consistency game, right? Like, I did it. There were a couple of days I didn't write. What I did, morning I write one, evening I write the other one. Because people asked. So I think when we take it up and we take that step, it's no more an illusion. I think illusion is a way to put things in the back burner and just to safeguard ourselves and to say, like, procrastinate, just hold on to that cushion and say, this is my thing. But if you're happy in that pond and that cushion, fine, continue that. But even if in case we live in that pond and we keep questioning, I want to do something I'm missing here. Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, and you're not exploring your full potential,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, you could do wonders.
Yeah.
So
I will do what is there. For me, that pond is enough, just like that frog.
Yeah.
Might be I'll go to ocean for vacation and come back. I would like to stand near that, shoreline, enjoy the waves. But am I someone who will swim inside? No. I will watch them doing that in the YouTube and enjoy, wow, you've done a great job, right? But I will stick on to the pond, that mini life, with the abundance or whatever we have now. I'm sure that will continue throughout the life.
Yeah.
That is enough and just right to my satisfaction.
So I was going through your podcasts and there was something about Mahabharata that you have spoken about. So what is the story about Nagamani that you've had a podcast on?
Yeah.
How did you come across this?
So since you brought it up, I would just keep it open for the audience also. When they grab a listen, they can listen to Nagamani over there.
Yeah.
I was to add yet another perspective also over here. See, Nagamani, I remember as a child when I used to watch in movies, they used to say it's a precious gem, right? And it is precious than the diamond, they used to say. Nagamani, they used to say it was something which the cobras are the reason for the Nagamani to be formed, because when the poison, when the cobras doesn't bite, I might be wrong, just adding a disclaimer, but if they don't bite, that poison gathers up and it forms in the form of a Nagamani. And in movies, they used to show that.
Yeah.
The Nagamani is safeguarded, it is near the Shivling, and Nagaraj and Nagarani will be protecting that. And then we have the villain coming to take that Nagamani. To add to that, it is there are certain things, which if we can wait for some time, gather it up, because with the current social media thing, there's a tendency, the peer pressure, not only the teens, I'm sure most of us have.
Yeah.
She has shared or he has shared. I haven't shared this update on the Facebook or on the social media or on Insta. She has done that, but I haven't done that, which is natural. But this I haven't done, is it taking too much to ourselves, or it is creating a yardstick to understand there is a scope to learn. Let me learn and come back and share. So when we gather that, when we learn and then we show it, this is something, it becomes like a precious Nagamani gem. I mean, that is my...
Do you have any preferred or your most liked character in Mahabharata?
Yeah, I wanted to add, Mahabharata, like many children, we watched it on the TV in Doordarshan. So it was, this is Shakuni, this is Bhishmacharya, this is how Pandavas and Kauravas. So I watched that, and as growing up, I think I sometimes express my interest, why Shakuni is bad, but elders is like, no, he is not good, that used to be there. But I didn't pick up, go to the library and open and understand. There's a lot of books, which says, what we see in the TV might be, I feel it's like 10 to 20%, but there is a lot of work which goes beyond that. So Shakuni, I've not done much of a research, but I just read it here and there. So my favorite character is Shakuni.
Really?
Yeah, Krishna and Shakuni. But why Krishna and Shakuni? I'll tell you, because somewhere I feel they knew what to do. They, like we talk about these days in the corporate or even to children for that matter, communication skills, purpose, plan A, plan B and all these things. Both Shakuni and Krishna, in my opinion, they were clear about the ultimatum. Like Krishna, he said about dharma. Shakuni, I don't think he spoke about dharma. His thing was to bring the clan to ashes. He was clear about what he wanted to do. So whatever you ask, even in the middle of the night, they say, right, in the middle of the night, if you pinch me, I will give you the right answer. So if you have a good practice and preparation, you'll do that. For Shakuni, I think even someone, if they would have pinched him in the middle of the night, he would have said, I want to kill Bhishmacharya. That he might have said. So I relate to that because he knew what he wants to do. And can we use that? My way of looking at Shakuni is only in this way. It is not about affecting someone. It is not about, putting in the thought that you need to kill someone. Because for him, the thought was this, using Duryodhana as a tool, we can call it as, or as a support to get his aspiration or purpose fulfilled. So that's a reason I like Shakuni, of course Krishna also, because if you ask Shakuni, he might be always thinking about what Krishna is going to think. And that we can relate to today's scenario, like when we start a business, they talk about competitor analysis. You should know what your competitor knows, all these things, right? So those stay itself in mythological stories. I mean, whether it is in India or any country, every country has its own mythological or a cultural stories. And when we start dissecting it, like, I'm sure that we are relating it to what is happening today. So these two characters, they like there was this Chayamukhi mirror. They say, when Krishna looked at it, it was Shakuni. I mean, I might be right or wrong, but it is like if you're doing something, you should know for whom you're doing, for what you're doing, why you're doing. So these guys, I think, they spoke on those terms, in my opinion.
So also we know that Eklavya, we know the story of Eklavya. But my question is that kids these days, should they blindly obey their teachers even if they are wrong?
It depends.
Okay.
It really depends. I would never say listen to anyone blindly. Not even to the parents to listen blindly. Asking, sometimes, see, I'm a parent too. Certain things unconsciously I might have picked up as a child or in my learning. Can I just impose that on my daughter even without I knowing what it is? When I don't know and I tell, for example, my daughter, if I say, you have to do this, it's unfair for her to, because I think children will have a lot of questions. As a mother, I have, or as a parent, we have our bit of challenges, like when they ask questions, we don't know certain things. But during our time, they say, no, don't ask.
Yeah.
Now it is not like that. They say, now we'll say, okay, let me check Google. She said, okay, let me go and check Google. I've been openly telling, I don't know. I say, no, but you've grown. I said, say, even at 60 years, I'll be at the same height only. This is only so much in my brain. So much only I have. Or I've very comfortably saved only so much information. So that's all I know. So with teachers, Neha, again, it depends. Some children, they love their teacher so much because the teacher has given that environment. Whatever the teacher says, the child will blindly listen. So it could be for the benefit. So I would not again say listen blindly, but they get influenced, right? So I would say if there's a teacher, or there are so many teachers, I've seen in a couple of reels, how I think there was in Kerala recently some teacher, she got transferred to another school or so, and she was not allowed to get into the car. All children were just flanking the vehicle and they were crying, don't go. So might be those teachers, they would, when they say something, these children will just listen because they know that it is for their benefit. So can we call that listening blindly? I don't know, but they get influenced. I think children are best to choose whom to listen to.
Now they are very smart actually. And
seriously. Like I said, I tell most of the time I don't know, and my daughter's expectation is I should know. I said, no, that is not the thing. Don't expect I will know everything, because I'm as old as you as a mother.
No, I'm just thinking that probably, like you said, that they should question if they feel that it's not okay. But maybe in a better communicative way, right?
Definitely.
Like politely or something.
There's certain things, there's one thing in my experience, what I learned is not everything my daughter will pick it up from me. As a mother or as a parent, we might want to share, we might say, listen to what I'm sharing. But certain things doesn't happen that way. That's when the organization experience helps me outsource, delegate. Might be there are people, my friend, if she can be that influencer who can help my child understand, probably I should, not probably, I take her support. Might be the other day's parents, they didn't teach us like this. They say, she's not listening to me. If you tell, she will listen. That probably we just add a bit of a, makeover. And we give it to this generation kid that, see, I am not able to do that. Might be I can take somebody's support who can help you. I think then the child will listen.
True. So storytelling can be a very useful tool for corporate employees, students, and almost everyone, but it is highly underrated just now.
It is. But off late, it is picking up a lot.
So there is an impression that storytelling is used only when someone sits down to tell stories to kids, right? Would you like to talk about how storytelling can be used in almost everything we do?
it is actually happening. Like I
Yeah.
said, to me, if I say story, it is an experience.
Yeah.
It could be our personal experience or the experience of listening to what someone shared it and we put it in our words and share it.
Yeah.
Like sitting and listening, this used to be, the time when as a child, if someone shared stories, even if we are playing in the park, immediately all the children, like we used to just sit and they just shared and we would love listening.
Yeah.
They shared and we built the castle in our
Yeah.
mind, right?
True.
Given a choice, I would say more than children, I don't know if we can expect children sit and listen. As a storyteller, when we do it in a classroom, it is done in a way, Neha, like I'll sit, you sit and just listen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They will be running around.
Yeah.
But it's important for a storyteller. That's where I say target audience.
Yeah.
If I, as a storyteller, if I cannot, enable those children to settle,
Yeah.
or if I cannot connect when the children is jumping up and down and still listening, might be that's not my audience.
Yeah.
There is a lot of these adult storytelling. I'm sure definitely adults will not do this jumping up and down. So I think most of the adults, there's a certain, could be a psychology, because after working in the corporate or being, Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday working continuously, given a choice, you get an opportunity, you just have to sit back and someone is sharing.
Unwind.
Either you listen or you just doze off.
Yeah.
A storyteller can help us, doze off.
Yeah.
When I say that, I don't mean to say not creating an interest.
Yeah.
There's a story in that too. So corporate, there is quite a bit. There are a lot of senior storytellers I've seen, who have been doing corporate storytelling. Like Neha, like 5 years back also storytellers, if they say, they were like, what? Why are you telling stories? What are you going to make out of it? It is just not that. A story is a medium, in my opinion. And from the story you built, like for example, you story to create content. It could be in the form of a reels. Use story to create training and workshop modules. For me, like I don't go to, most of the time I don't tell them, like the stories that happen, these mythological and other things I share based on my experience, along with a disclaimer that I add on podcast or on the YouTube when I create that. When I'm with people, most of the time it becomes like I share the experiences. I build those business contexts, like for example, like I mentioned, John and, how they can solve or how they can use story as a medium to build a narrative and look at the outcome what they're looking for. So I'm glad, most of the corporates today, they mention corporate storytelling.
Yeah.
So
and why do you think it's changing? You said now they're more open to this.
Acceptance,
concept.
I think.
Yeah.
They started looking at, okay, fine.
It's working better.
Yeah, because might be earlier people didn't listen to when the people shared stories. They felt stories only were like a panchatantra or a lion and a mouse. Or they would have felt, parents would have felt, okay, it is time for me to unwind. Let me put my daughter or son or put my children into a storytelling session.
Yeah.
She or he will be there for 1 hour. The storyteller will take care. So from looking at that perspective, and storytellers also, when they saw what is happening, like when we see in the market, this is not the way you should look at it. Sometimes they don't get paid properly, which will be like 10 times lower than what market is actually talking about. So I feel, depending on the need and how the financial thing is at home, I would say storytellers, if storytelling is a passion and you feel that is not getting a lot of money, keep building the track parallelly, because use story to build training and workshops. So all of us, whether on the corporate, because I think they talk about HR storytelling also of late, and marketing, brand, and thanks to the Corpcom team and the corporate, I'm sure they talk more on stories. So
it's helpful actually. It helps you understand a situation better, and I don't know. It's more relatable, I feel.
True. Yeah.
So let's make stories. Dino has a very interesting objective, bringing all people into writing. Do you really think everyone can write, and how exactly would this help?
Yes, everyone can write. They can write in their own way. Like I said, the illusion, I cannot write. But if some people feel I really cannot write, then we should let them. Might be they are happy, or they might find themselves good in sharing. So share it, record it, and then you write.
Nice.
I would put it across that way. So let's make stories, Dino. My gratitude and thanks to the entire team, the members, because when I started, I was just roaring,
Yeah.
and they joined in, and it's been a dino happy feat, I would call it as. Because they have been the major contributors. I only tell them this is a theme, and we are picking up again. We were going through a pause, and we are coming back again from this Christmas and New Year, for that matter,
Nice.
2025. So, but that is the writing community, to date, which gave me that space to work with them. What I didn't do. I only tell them, we can do this. And they used to jump into it to take part in the writing events. And that's how we made our book, Arising from the Dust. And then I worked with Pakitam Tales, Dr. Lakshmi Priya, creating a couple of more anthologies. So in total, we have done 6 to 7 anthologies as a compiler.
Yeah.
And definitely would like to quote, Mitru and Artunzin, because they helped me. He also helped me to get the first book out on the market.
Okay.
And of course, my friends also, the writing community, would like to quote names because I don't want to miss out anyone. But yeah, so many of them, I'm here because they push me to move ahead.
That's amazing and so encouraging, actually.
Because we started just with 50 to 100 words a day.
Yeah.
Like, just write. We said, we are not going to judge anyone. And then we used to have some events, where people used to get picked for, winner or this one. But the others who didn't pick it up also, we used to go back to them to understand how we can.
You've also said happiness is standing in line at times. How do you explain this to the impatient alpha generation?
Okay. Oh, God. Yeah. Thanks for that. When we stand in a line, sometimes my little one says, can we hop? Can we come tomorrow
Yeah.
also? But sometimes she enjoys being there also.
Yeah.
So this happened in 2016. The demonetization time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have seen the longest
Yeah,
queue ever
yeah,
outside the
yeah,
ATM.
yeah.
I was already late because I had to, exchange those currencies or deposit
Correct.
those money which was not going to run
Yeah.
beyond this time. So I was doing that, then came back to ATM to withdraw the new set of notes. And I'm seeing big line. First I was like, oh my God, I have to. Like, the rushing is there in our mind
Yeah.
because of the commitments that we have.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to
Yeah.
rush.
It just sounds so stressful, but
I
you're
know.
saying that it's happiness.
No, I was when I stood in the line first. And then I saw everybody were like irritated. I'm like, I don't want to carry this grumpy face. And I just looked out.
Yeah.
I'm quite fond of pets. So I was just looking at 2 dogs playing and puppies playing. And I was just looking that you're not worried about any standing in the line demonetization. Typical like a child, they say like, they don't have to study and all, right? Then I said, looks like it is going to take another an hour and a half or at least an hour for me to, finish. And I also prepared my mind. What if the time I go, the machine closes and says no money? I need to be prepared because first of all, I'm grumpy if I'm grumpy. And once I get my position, then that time the cash doesn't come, I'll be more grumpy. Why have to do that? I am late. If someone is going to tell in the organization you're late, I cannot tell them you will not tell.
Yeah.
You are going to say. You have decided you're going to scold, you will scold.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that's happiness sometimes to stand in the line to observe people. Like, I just plugged in the earphone. So I had a background music to play, right? So the puppies were playing and they were standing in the line.
Yeah.
It was 45 to 50 minutes. By then, I got the cash. So I came back and wrote about it because it was part of the happiness.
Yeah.
That day I was thinking, what do I write? So then I said, that's when I realized, see, sometimes, Neha, it is that particular moment, the realization is good. But again, when we are back to the office and working, right, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So it is switching between, like shifting gears when you're driving similarly.
My father always says that it is something to do nothing. Okay. So you've also mentioned that in your book. So why is it important to do nothing?
God, okay. So sometimes after quitting, when I didn't know what to do, I was literally banging my head because so used to getting that salary.
Yeah, and that like routine and rat race. And, that
seriously.
kind of thing.
No mails to check. No escalation mails to check also. At one time I felt escalation mail is also good now. At least I will know there's something. Nothing is happening. I go to my Gmail. Like literally I remember those forwards where they say you send a mail. Go who reaches first? Whether you reach or the email reaches first. I've done these things. And then I said, that's when I feel I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So let me sit quiet. But I didn't know what to do. When we are doing nothing, we'll not sit quiet. And my family also says, like, if you ask her to do nothing, again she will go and, she'll be at least again back to the kitchen, taking this, opening the shelf and checking if the sugar is there, this is there, So then I realized, let me not do anything. Whatever is there, that only is there. Let me sit quiet. So sometimes parents used to, those days, grandparents used to say, we used to say boring. They said, sit quiet. So I think boring is to do nothing. Nothing happened that time.
So suppose you've also said that I want to understand this better. How is it that first step is the dogma for any learning to happen?
Yeah.
Suppose, there are friends, who have cheated you, who have done things that have hurt you. So should forgiveness be my first step? What do you think the first step should be?
See, the first thing is we will, as a normal human, we're like, I don't want to forget. I'm angry with that person. I hate that person. All these things will come.
Yeah.
But that's when I realized the psychology and NLP came into my life. Where, forgiving is really not easy. Because the other person, we will never forgive. That's what I feel. We'll never forget until our last breath on this earth. What we can do is we can only heal ourselves to ignore. For me, forgiving, I think sometimes it's become like ignoring. Not like ignoring the person if it is not going to be of, I shouldn't say use. If it is not going to be, if the connect is not there. So ignore or move on. Forgiving, even today, I don't think certain people I might have forgiven. I don't know whether it is forgiven or forgotten. But I still talk to them because if I connect with them with the same anger, I felt, it is my mind and my mind space that I'm affecting.
Yeah.
So either tell them like, no, I'm not able to connect with you, at least to let them know. Or if I feel they're going to feel hurt, should I carry the hurt with me that, it depends, moving on from the situation or from the person. I think our mind and body will always give us the right signal to do what. It's just that we have to listen. I'm yet to sometimes figure that out though.
Well said, actually. Very nicely said.
And dogma, because like they say, central dogma, DNA.
Yeah.
So it's like when we have a dogma, it's like something, it's there. A script is there, right? And we follow the script and go. So certain things in our life, we need to have that in our DNA, if not the real one, inside ourselves, at least in our mind, which says, okay, these things I can, these things I cannot, make it vocal.
Yeah.
So acceptance, one dogma, like for example, when I was working, when I was coming up in the startup program, many people, some have the brand, some do not talk much about the brand. They're making huge profits and revenue. Some are not. But what is happening is there's a conflicting thought, like I'm doing so much and I'm not getting it. So I feel, we will have to create a dogma in terms of acceptance.
Yeah.
Where are we heading?
Yeah.
Is it for me or for someone else I'm creating that?
Self-reflection. So you're going to talk about some experiences from your motherhood. And,
sure.
It's okay. So as mothers, we all are very hard on ourselves at times. Okay, my child is having anger issue now because, when he was younger, I used to be very irritable. So what do you have to say for that?
I think when we become, first what happens is...
should we be hard on ourselves as mothers?
If we become one.
Yeah.
The first is we carry the expectation to carry a child. Or sometimes an expectation like they say, you just bring the child into the world. We will take care. But what happens is all are aging. When they gradually move on because of their age.
Yeah.
And we don't know, like when we become a mother, not everybody will come and say, take care of yours. They say, okay, congratulations, you have a child, take care of child. But there is one more, so many disclaimers, which it is there.
Yeah.
Like a thread, behind us. It is there, like family, everything.
Yeah.
But Neha, like olden days, I think the women who were having like 10 children also, but how did they manage?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We, like my grandparents, how did they manage? They were not taught, they didn't,
Yeah.
they also would have had postpartum and other things.
Yeah.
And their menstrual cycle was like really difficult for them. And at times they never used to be at home, and still managing 10 children. How did they do? But today with one, because I think the expectation is we are carrying in our mind, or sometimes our mothers or parents say that, like, once you are into this particular family, take care of everything. So they mean it in a good sense, that take care of everything. That means like understand and be with them. But what happens is, I think many women, for that matter, I don't know the exact data, but most of the women, what we have, even we have done that, in order to make others feel happy, like, to certain things we compromise.
Yeah.
But it's important, if you compromise now, once the postpartum, like when the child grows, can we relook at what we compromised? Can we nourish it, add little bit of food into that and let it grow? But when we don't let that thing grow, right, that's when we feel, like, I've lost my job, I'm dependent on someone for the money, which is sometimes even I feel. It's not people who make me feel, it is I who chose to think like that. But immediately I think, no, I need to feel grateful that there's some line that goes every month continuously. What I'm doing is out of passion and love, and still I'm making my bit of a money to run the house or to myself or for my daughter. So, but we become hard when we don't take care of our needs. And sometimes we don't know what we want to take care of. We feel when the little bundle comes in, the child is taking our entire time. But some people have good support system, so they can ask them to take care. A mother can go out and come also, because those days women, they didn't have any, they were their thing was like defined, like in the horse they say, right, only family, cooking, family, cooking, and if it's a daughter, get her married, and if it's a son, get him educated. This
that can be overwhelming, right?
But today we have so much to do as a woman, as a girl. We aspire to do so many things because we have opportunities. And when we sometimes see others doing it, and when if I am not doing it, that's when we become hard. And that hard, psychologically, we have a habit of expressing someone who's less stronger than us, right? And we show it on our child. And later on we think, oh my God, I was angry on you. So I think when we feel that, go and say that because of these reasons, I was angry on you. And I'm sure the child will understand. They might not be able to put it across. But we don't have a support system, and still we have to outsource our child's taking care of somebody else. I think we have to accept that we have to pull that for some time at least, and that put that money, put in the bank, and then sit back and again go back. It's not like I'm telling this easily,
I know.
Because I'm going through that sometimes. I've gone through that also.
No, it's not easy at all. I agree with you. But you've put it very beautifully, actually.
Thank you.
So most, also women who are new daughter-in-laws, they also feel that they need to please everyone, right? So what kind of advice do you have for them?
So I would say, when we please first time, right? It's like a dopamine act, right? What we call it as. When people feel happy, wow. And when this girl gets, appreciation. She cooked well, she took care of. Unconsciously, a crown that goes on the head, she would want to hold on to that crown and continue the journey. But when it becomes monotonous, she might do it consistently, taking care of everyone, putting her thoughts, under the carpet. But when she feels that carpet doesn't have place to keep more aspirations, or it starts stinking. I mean, be a wrong word. I mean, a difficult word. That's when it will hit us that I'm not doing anything for myself. So take care of the family. Okay. See how much we have as a bandwidth. So much I will do. I'm sure, see, this is my thought, they will understand. But if there is someone who doesn't understand, then person really need to relook.
But did you have to go through all this? Oh, no, it was not.
How do I put it across? I would say difference of opinion has been there everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere, in the office or with my folks or anyone. But I learned it that, what I feel right, that 6 and 9 methodology. For the other person, it's different. So even they also come in with a lot of aspiration. They couldn't do. We are doing it. If we have someone who says, you're doing it, let me support you. Hold the hand, or at least say thank you and move on. Because we cannot, because if I go with the same thing, like if I have to please everyone, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not wearing a cap over here and telling, I don't know. Seriously,
Yeah.
how can I do that? I can do certain things. And certain things I have been telling, only this I will do. And when I say I cannot do, people come forward to support me.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we have to ask.
Yeah.
So blessed, and I'm thankful because everywhere, sometimes when I talk to my mom says, no, what you're telling doesn't work with this.
Yeah.
So that is a difference of opinion. But I don't try to go and convince her because I realized over a period of time, when I convince, I'm putting a lot of my energy because they have grown with certain principles.
Yeah.
If I cannot change myself, how can I expect them who's in 60s and 70s and tell them that you change?
Yeah.
Let them be until unless you all are in a, like under a roof or in different places under different roofs and still connected. Keep going on.
Yeah. Communicate, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So you also say that happiness is accepting people making stories about you. And, right? These days, teens, and how they get influenced by their friends and peers, and mama, my friends think this is not cool, and I should be doing this way.
Yeah.
And I have nephews also who are doing Gita, and then they're like, our friends make fun of us.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say?
This thing happens pre-teen only.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it starts from the kindergarten or school, right? She got a pink box.
Yeah.
I was so fascinated. You're sending me a steel dabba. So, if in case if I have to say that, my daughter sometimes would say, she's got that. Then if I feel I can buy that for her, which makes sense for her, but I would not buy that immediately.
Yeah.
Because I would look at it like, like after 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So she has this habit of telling my husband sometimes that, that girl, she will not buy now. If I give her, she'll be shocked like I got it. So I don't know whether I'm doing right or wrong, Neha, but when we grew up, we didn't get things easily. Even storybooks that we talk about, it used to be in rotation basis, right? And we were so particular. This page you only folded. Don't do that. I need to return to that bhaiya. So we worked, where sharing was there. But here it is like instant gratification. It's like, I feel good, like even I have that same pink color tiffin dabba. But the truth is, if I tell, the thing is, if I have to tell her that only this I can, she might be disappointed. My daughter or children might get angry. They will be angry even for a week let it be. But let them be angry now rather than, at one particular age where they feel, I cannot take up things. I think it will prepare them. Like, for example, the other day, I and my husband, we went to have pizza. And there were around 10 to 15 teenage boys. And the whole floor was halla bulla. It was nice. They're chirping. Okay. We were thinking, my husband and we were like, see, man, they're buying pizza. We used to come. We thought, but after some time, when they had to pay for it, each of them were pulling out 50 rupees, 60 rupees, 10 rupees. Yeah. They put it and they gave it to one guy and said, you GP. So I felt, they want to have pizza, but the older, 12 to 15, they have actually got money. Yeah. Each of them have contributed. Though that pizza might be on the whole 2,000, which 2,000 is a huge amount. Yeah. It's a huge amount, right? Mm-hmm. But the 2,000 is different fractions from all of them. So I think even those children, they would have got no from their parents. But like you mentioned, Neha, it is really hard, challenging, because the comparison will continue. Even for me, it is literally I feel like jumping when my daughter says, I don't have this, I don't have. Then I will, if I make her understand right away, she will not understand. So I tell her only this I can. Yeah. This is my bandwidth. Yeah. Might be when you grow up, you do that. She said, how long should I wait? So I said, if you're ready to wait, you buy. No, then you tell me, it's okay, ma, I don't want. No, but still a challenging. I'm sure there are a lot of new things will come. Couple of years, it was a pink color tiffin box. Yeah. Couple of days back, it was for the Christmas. What do you call that? The mask and other things. I said, we already have one, or we can make one. Yeah. So it will continue. I think the more the no's we make our children to listen to, they will not accept. Mm-hmm. They only have to listen to the no's, I'm sure.
Yeah. This is for the larger good, greater good. You also say because some stories, morals are not in the books. Mm-hmm. Do you mean that by life experiences?
Yeah. Some stories I don't know. I just read. I didn't understand anything. Yeah. Might be I was in the target audience for the author. But some I read and still wonder what is the moral in that. I still don't get it. So I just leave it.
Yeah.
Because that's when I realized, even I wrote in my books, no, all the stories will not have moral.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we think about story, a moral is important. I don't say without moral you should have a story. A moral is important. As a storyteller for certain, or as a person who's narrating the story, we can tell them, see, from this story, this is what. But certain things, we leave it to them. Because some stories, Neha, I'm sure, it will make a person laugh like anything, and they don't know for what they laugh. They don't look for moral. Certain stories will not have an ending, but they would have, they might have cried, or they would have gone silent for a while. So I think it is reflections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Have you identified your song of life?
Song of life. Okay.
Like a purpose, like what you want to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's such a, like I said, even in the college a couple of weeks back, we were talking about something on the purpose. I said, it's not something that we can look for in the Google. For me, it is about the story and the narrative that can help me to be with myself and people around. Plus, make, the monetary out of it.
Yeah.
So, monetary part, people would say, don't add it to purpose. But purpose ke liye bhi purpose hona chahiye.
I agree.
Yeah.
What should I tell someone who's looking for reasons to be happy?
I don't know. Because I will tell something, they will say, oh, what, Meera, for you that will be happiness. For me, it is not happiness. So I would say, figure it out.
Yeah. Should mompreneurs wear the label of pride?
Yes. You should wear the pride. Like every mom is unique.
Yeah.
And every mom, every child is unique. So there might be a lot of these parenting coach, where they give a lot of suggestions or advice, or their experience, you can do it. Certain things will not match us. Certain things will not match us. When the person is feeling that, it doesn't mean you're not good at it. That's what I want to, because I came across a couple of moms, where this parenting coach was talking, but my child, I said, see, for that parenting coach, they might have worked with 100 or 1,000 children, but your child is different.
Yeah, everyone's
right?
unique.
And your child can only talk to you. The parenting coach can be an enabler,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He or she can tell you, this is one way. Might be you can understand that and work your own way.
Yeah.
Because we should wear that pride cap, because
But it's tough, no, Meera.
it is really tough.
To balance being a mom, and to balance your work sometimes, work life.
Like I've told my daughter, sometimes I felt maybe I can take the stage or opportunity to say that sorry and thanks. Sometimes I might have told her, like I quit because I didn't know how to. Then I realized when I looked into her eyes, oh my God, I thought you wanted to be with me, but why? That was really difficult to take. That's when I said sorry. I didn't mean that I quit because I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
Right? But most moms also, they have a feeling, right? Unconsciously, they might carry this, I'm not able to work, or I quit my corporate, or I quit my high paying, or whatever, I quit something that I was doing because I'll have to take care of the child. They might not say that, but because that seed actually grows into a banyan tree with so many prop roots, Neha.
Yeah.
Because if it's a banyan tree and prop roots, it will not let us grow. Because we operate with this mentality unconsciously. Our actions and behavior will make the child feel bad. I realized that sometimes I might have built that narrative in my mind, when I said I quit because I couldn't. Then I was like, this is really, is it right or wrong? I don't know even today. But if I don't express, I'm letting it, I'm letting the weed to grow, not even the banyan. Then I went back to her, I told her, if you're 6 years old as a child, I'm 6 years old as a mother. Because I don't know certain things, It's not like my parents or nobody taught me about it. Because what they did was different. The grandparents, I've never seen them, many grandparents, I've not seen them, telling that I couldn't do that. I've always heard them telling that I took care of this child, this did, he went on this, he studied well, she did this, did this. because they had defined and they took the syllabus that was given to them. This is what you can do, and they went out. They stayed happy. But we have a lot of opportunities, and we are missing that, right? It makes us a mother, and we look at our child, and that is a poor small make, right? I mean, how much ever they can be teenage or whatever, they might grow physically, but mentally they're that little child, who's looking. Most of the time children look at their parents, if you can, I'm wrong. They might not say sorry sometimes, but if we can take that next step and say, because I did that, today I would say sorry and thank you to my daughter, because sometimes I've told her, like, I don't know what to do and I quit. I don't, then I feel, is it right to say that?
No, and even if, I'm just thinking, even if, someone's able to balance being a mom and you're just exhausted, right, at the end of the day. So where is the time only to wear that label of
that
time?
exhaustion comes in the mind first, more than physically, like, because so many compartments we have put. I want to do this, I'm not doing. I want to do this, I want. Like for example, my daughter, I think I told this couple of years back or something, and a couple of months back, she has asked one of my neighbor. She plays with her child. And she said, Auntie, you're working in this company. She said, my mom is an early riser. She'll come to office on time. Can you look for any job for her? She will work well. She will be correct on time. And she will do the work on time. And she will do everything properly. So can you look for any? So this was like, I think that did the sorry which I said, it made her, she said, now I can take care of myself. Like even if my father is traveling, my grandma might be there. Even if my grandmother is traveling, I can take care of myself. So I feel, that's actually a blessing or a gift that she gave me the other day. So as a mother, when we feel bad, what I feel is, I tell her, I scold, we hit each other, like siblings, sibling fight is what we both have. Sometimes even my husband says, I do not want to get in between you both, because if I come in between, you both will become one team and I'll be the other one. So she, more she picks up fight with me, I feel she understands also. But that doesn't come immediately. Sometimes, when she also outbursts, she'll say, you said this, I just have to listen to it. So I think we listen to ourselves, we listen to them. But the sorry and thank you, somewhere we have to heal it. I might not have exact answer to this, Neha, because every mom's journey is different.
Absolutely.
Some can pick up option and still they are able to manage at home. We may never know the other side of the story. They might say, hey, I'm happy you're at home and you're taking care of child. You're able to go and pick her and come back. You can say bye to her to the school when she's going. But I'm not doing that, right? So I think it will never be satisfied.
So how to be a successful mompreneur? Any tips?
Like I mentioned earlier, it's a short-lived complex. Success, I think sometimes we associate with the name and the tag and the accolade and appreciation that we get. But to all the moms and mompreneurs or ammapreneur, like I call it as, I would say, like, when we feel we are not able to take up some regular opportunity from whoever is creating something, it could be in the form of a platform they created on a social media. It could be anything that they have. If that is giving them happiness, that is one. Second thing, what I would ask them to think is, if they are connecting that happiness with the success in the form of a monetary, like my mentors say, an idea is something, if it can stand on its own leg and run and get you money, first revenue and then profit, yes, that is something you should pursue. So I would tell these moms also, if in case because most of the mompreneurs which happen because of the social media tag, right? Many of them put the tagline, or they look for those appreciations and accolades, or that name and recognition, some bit, on the social media. If it is only with the likes and shares, that is not going to come a long way. That's something I want to tell. And that likes and share, if it can turn into an idea, into a platform that is providing opportunity for several more, mommies, and it might not give money immediately. And if you can build a module, that's when they talk about business model. Take people, support, ask in the same community if there is anyone from the industry or in the business who can tell you, hey, what you're doing is good, but there's something you can add. Create out of it. So to all the mompreneurs, a preneur is something which we talk as a creative. So if you add mompreneur, just because you're not in the corporate and you're not making regular flow of income and you've added your name, I would suggest mompreneur is about, if you chose to quit to take care of your child. Along with that, you can create a small battalion. It will not give money immediately, but that is something, a stepping stone. Have that patience, build. As the child grows, this also will grow. And if it can give, I would say, look at creating revenue. It's important because once the revenue comes in, that's when we will know what are the expenses we are making, how else we can grow this platform into a community, into a business, and how it can create opportunity for the others, how it can turn into a workshop and a learning or a story for someone. Then the profit will happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
Give it time.
Yeah, give the time.
Yeah.
Success takes time.
Yeah.
And once it comes, it will not stay. That's all I would say.
What was your relationship with your mother like? Was she your hero? Did you see her struggle?
I've seen, sorry.
And are there other mother figures in your life?
Yeah.
Would you like to?
All the mothers I've seen, my mother or my, in-law, or all the mother, most of the mothers I've seen, I think like if we struggle with certain things, they have struggled and come this way. So I pick on fight with my mom, and she says something, I'll say, I'll say no. So this has been right from the childhood. She says something, I would say no. It is not only with her. For all the mothers whom I met in my life, they say something, I will say, okay, let me think. So what I have seen is everyone, they are carrying a challenge, one story, a painful story, and a happy story. Most of the time when mothers, what I see is I don't see the healing story in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we generation, this mom, we speak about healing and all.
Yeah.
And we go and apply this healing with our mothers, it will not, doesn't happen. I remember people at home, they say, your psychology, let it be outside, which is true.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is, I think it is Indra Nooyi who was telling, right? Like when you go home, if you go with the same crown as a CEO, it doesn't work at home because we want to wear the CEO crown, and we do not expect the CFOs who's at home, or we do not expect the CMOs to wear their crown. Only we need to wear. It doesn't work like that. So sometimes in the office or in the here we might talk to what you ask. At home, that doesn't work. So that time they will say, stop telling stories. So I think it's better we stop telling at that particular time. So we need to change our narrative, retain the script based on the audience. So outside, with friends, it's a different thing. You talk anything under the earth. Even if our friend, they sleep off, when they're listening to our story, it would not bother us. We might hit that person and, how dare you sleep when I'm sharing? We might. But do we do that at home? No, we get angry and we'll say, you're not listening to what I'm telling. Right? Literally. So home is different. This one. So sometimes I feel the tagline that we create, honestly, it could be for the social media, it could be for the LinkedIn profile, or it could be the business that we do. But at home, none of these tag works. That might be at some families, they talk about, they still talk. Might be everyone have a script in that particular family, but our family cannot be that family.
But what was your relationship with your mother like?
My mother, it was always we fight, we talk, we fight, we talk. So she has struggled a lot. She has real challenges. She has been a single parent child. So those days, single parent child, there'll be a lot of comparisons, there'll be a lot of questions. She has always shared those experiences. Her story has been my learning, and my grandmother, who actually faced my maternal grandmother, I am here because of her also, the reason, because she always said, because she was the first woman who worked in our family. She worked in the government school as a music teacher, and she was a professional Carnatic singer. She took classes also. When I got my first job, she said, I'm happy you picked up a job. From here, you do the extra studies. Doesn't matter, whatever comes, don't quit. And when I quit, I was feeling bad. But I also remembered another thing which she said, we quit only to start another thing or to take a pause. Always be on your own. Having said that doesn't mean you put that crown on your head and say I am the one who's doing it. You feel that once in a while. You should feel that. But doesn't mean that you are the only one who can run the entire thing. So these mothers, my mother-in-law, all of them, all the mothers I've come across, like I mentioned, I have seen pain and the fun part. The healing part is something most of them, either we apply the balm or we apply balm to others, not to ourselves.
True, yeah. And have you met a perfect mother?
All are perfect.
How How do you handle household responsibility when you're working from home with the kids?
So since I'm working from home, say one thing, Neha, what I feel is we have to define our timing.
Yeah.
It is okay if we wake up at 9 and still we complete our work. It is also okay if we wake up at 4. So for me, I have this habit of 4:35 waking up so that I can finish my kriyas or yoga and then finish the cooking. Because breakfast and lunch I keep it prepared by almost 7:30, 8:30 it is done, because once my daughter goes to school by 8:30, I come back for a walk and a jog, I come back home, and then the breakfast is also ready. Some days I don't make also. I make it only for my daughter, and I and my husband, we go out, grab a bite, come back. So what structure we want, only we can define it. So for me, I wind up by 9:45, 10 in the morning, the kitchen. Uske baad kitchen and I, we don't have much of a talk. Only for the coffee and tea, I go and meet. And between 10 to 1:30, that is the time I operate and work. The 2 hours to 3, that is the time. Then after my daughter comes back from the school, I try to manage something in between. So I am not someone who works like the whole 9 to 5. And given a choice, I would love to do 9 to 5 also.
What do you wish your mom or grandma should have told you about motherhood?
Be ready for this monster and roller coaster ride. Monstrous roller coaster ride.
Draw up quintessential mother-daughter moments for yourself and your daughter. Did you breastfeed? How were you as a first-time mother?
I took it up as it came, Neha.
Okay.
So things happened the way it was happening, and we just connected. That's all.
And are you affectionate even when in disagreement with your daughter?
We both go mad at each other. We don't talk to each other for a second. But yeah, how can I expect the little one first to come and tell sorry? She might be. Yes, some children do that. My daughter, she'll be sitting, but I could see that face, not a long face. It goes literally like the football when there is no air in the ball. Punctured one, what do you call it as, without the air. It goes like that. I mean, we look at that side and we're like, I'm sorry. And she'll be actually waiting for that hug. So we fight. Like a sibling fight, literally.
So when you say that, actually, it just reminds me of, some moments with my dad. And one of the things he's told me as a child was that you don't become small when you say sorry. You become a larger person, actually.
So true. Initially, I was just looking at it. One age, when children are like cute. From that cute, they become like, oh no, what do I do? And like, oh no, stage also. That period, if we start telling thank you and sorry, but it needs to be judicious use also. Sometimes I've not told sorry to her. And she has picked it up, and she said, that day you didn't say sorry. And so that's okay. Now I will say, no, I don't want now.
Cute.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through ups and downs, happiness, sadness. So what advice do you give your daughter? How to handle stress and how to handle
nothing. I tell her. She gives me. If I tell her, she will give me back. She gives back and she says, awfully she's picked up this topic about you 80s and 90s are like this. And we people are like this. I'm like, okay. So if I say don't do that, she will immediately, she will start the voiceover there. No, she will do the lip sync. I will be in the kitchen and she will say, she will tell this.
Wow.
Most of the children today are like, so it's out of syllabus every day, Neha.
One way you've raised your daughter differently than your mother, and what was something you liked about the way you were raised?
That's a very tricky question. I don't see much of a difference. It's only the time that we are living. Time is something she always, and keeping things in that place. So that's something I unconsciously, I think I picked it up as a child and I still do that. It might be annoying at times. They say a habit is an OCD when it's annoying for others, right? So I think I've been that annoying person at times, many a times. But when I look back, I feel I learned, at my 40s, sometimes they say, when a woman births a child, that's when, she misses her mother a lot, or she looks for her mother a lot, they say, because she's gone through the pain, what her mother went through to deliver her, they say, right? So one age is where I started, like I, someday when my mom used to say, I didn't know that time we were going through the preteen and teen and hormonal things and all. But I used to give back answers and one grumpy face I used to care. But today when I look back, okay, certain things are not meant to understand. It is like, the forwards which we get the fern and the bamboo, one grows faster, one grows later. So sometimes we might be that bamboo, which is yet to grow.
Yeah.
So what one says, it comes out. So I know, no such comparison because
Okay.
I feel scared to make such comparison. I feel it's not right for me to think in that lens because when I look, so if I think, if what she did and I'm doing better than that, I don't know. I feel every mother is doing her best job. It's we give the certificate, I'm doing worst.
Yeah.
But I would say rhyme it.
Yeah.
We'll do what we can. That's all.
True. So, I mean, I know your daughter is very young now. So this, I assumed that time that you had 3 daughters. That's why
Oh my God, I'm just thinking. 3 different age groups.
So, but would you like your doctor to talk to you openly about sex, about boyfriends?
She has spoken.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's told about, oh my God, when she's listening to this, these children, they say, she tells, that boy is very nice. I like him.
And what do you say then?
I said, what made you? Oh, he helped me do the homework. I said, okay, fine. I wish this homework only continues, as a mother.
Yeah.
So it's actually funny too because I think Neha, like I as a child, even I might have, had a crush on someone or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't remember the phase also now.
Yeah.
So I never expressed this person I had a crush on. But when a child comes and says, here it is, everything. Oh, you have a boyfriend? Very, very good.
Yeah.
Oh, you went on this? Okay. I can't say for everything.
Yeah.
I think we, as a mother or parent, only we will know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
If she says, I will say, okay. And same this boyfriend other concept when she comes at 13 and 14. I cannot say, how dare you, right? Because it closes all the doors.
Yes,
So I can,
absolutely.
might be when I say some movies on people, when they share the experience, I can only tell her like, what do you think? And then the topic about the sex, sometimes she says, Mama, what is the right time to have a child? So I said, when do you think I had a child? Then she says, you had only after 30. But Ma, that is too late. That question also might come. So that time I say, okay, one thing I tell her, see, that is something you define. You want to, you don't want to, you want to get married. See, we can say that, but when that particular age, Neha, when it comes, might be when other parents are getting their child married, and if in case I feel, oh, my daughter is still, that thought also might come.
Yeah.
But if I set the expectation with myself rather than my child, like, she says, then I say, like, might be after 25. I tell her, in my thing, I say 25, 28 will be good. Just to add the fun part to it, I'll tell her, like, finish your studies. If you give birth to child now, it's I can't become so soon a grandmother because just now, like 7-8 years back, I finished the potty training and all. I can't restart the same diaper business now. And it's really difficult. I told her, see, now she said, yeah, you're getting into menopause and you're going crazy. So I said, yeah, when I'm going crazy, you cannot get another product at the house. And it'll be difficult for parents to maintain that.
Yeah.
Will you earn money for that? No, how can I go? I haven't. Then I tell her, finish your studies, go to college.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, then you think about marriage. Now, I tell her, buy a house for yourself because that's not something like, settling in. It's something, a roof you have.
Yeah.
Then she's like, oh my God, so much to do. I said, see, wait, the story doesn't end here. In my house, you have written your name and on the fridge and everything you've done. So when you get, when you buy a house, I have this, what is that wish list? When I come to your house, I just slam the door. I open the fridge door, just open it. Everywhere I write Meera and your father will write Bharat. How can you write in my house? Then she says, okay, fine. I will not going to ask you anything. When it is 25, I will talk to you. I said, please talk to me only at 25. I really do not have a bandwidth to manage.
But it's nice that she openly talks to you.
Because she asked me, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes I felt as a parent, we should ask these questions, but I didn't know. Or sometimes I wondered, how do I open it? But she comes up. She talks about menstruation. She talks about period. If she sees me grumpy, she says, she tells my husband, she is gone. Periods only. She might be grumpy. And sometimes she might come and check with me, like, when are you going to get? So I think when they talk, I would say, draw a line that we don't share everything, because age appropriate, one stage we can share. So I started talking to her about menstruation, because these days girls get it at the age of 8 and 9, and I was little worried as a mother. How can a 9 or 10-year manage this?
Correct.
So sometimes certain foods, when she says I want to have this again, I tell her like in a month we'll have once. Then I associate that, I tell her this will hit your hormone, and if in case you get your periods very early, how will you manage yourself? I mean, you're a little child, can you run between the washroom and the class, change the the pads and other thing? It's just difficult. So then she will be like, oh no, it is difficult, I cannot keep changing it. Then I said, then let's wait. So I think we have to take this. Also, I learned from some people when they talk certain things. I put it from my experience, thanks to my father, because when I got my first periods, he came first. He was working that time in Chennai. And he said, like when you get periods, it doesn't mean, Meera, you shouldn't talk to boys, you shouldn't be like this. See, this thoughts will come, because it's a time when you develop certain liking. It's a time when a girl feels she's the boy, or some boys who never bother to talk, they smile at you and you feel like, oh, wow. But that's the time you have to be like, just smile and leave it. Choose if you really want to, because he said it's really difficult. So that time he said I didn't bother. Bother nahi, matlab took it, but didn't understand rather. So when my daughter asked, then I tell her, but it's really difficult, like whether it's a girl or a boy. So for a boy, I think we need to prep the boy that, if your friend, if she gets, periods at the age of 9 and 10, please help her out with pads or sanitary pads and all these things. So it is actually tricky. We generation, if I tell you, it is tricky to handle, but we have to. So she comes up with all these questions. Sometimes, like in the family also, like, what? And then I was like, see, even I don't know what to do. If she's asked the question, if we don't answer, she will go outside. It is okay if she goes outside, but if she starts hiding, that is really difficult. Because I feel, even today, sometimes like you asked, like, do we feel perfect? Sometimes I feel, I feel guilty about, certain things I didn't tell, I didn't share. But I think everything has its own time to be shared. So some children, they are really very good at certain things. My daughter might be different, good at certain other things. So it is going to be a challenge for all the children, for parents also. But that's the option we have. There is no A, B, C, D. Only A, you can click all of the above.
No, of course. That goes without saying only that. So as mompreneurs, when you're stressed on time, how can one look at self-improvement? I know there's a podcast also that you've spoken about this.
Yeah. Sisterhood, I would say momhood, sisterhood. Reach out to people. Moms, see, many times, Neha, what I feel, like many moms, when I meet them in the bus stop in the evening hours, morning, everybody will be like, the oil will be floating here and there with the batter over here, chapati in between the nails, and saying bye to the child. But in the evening hour, we come fresh, like if it's just for us, we come there to connect with other moms, right? Hey, tere bache ka homework, what did you do? What this? Oh, the school is giving so much. We talk something, right? Similarly, when we are stuck, we should talk. And today, blessed we are that we have so many communities, right? Jump into any of the communities, join, send a request to join. You can put a post. I mean, today it runs all on social media. How much ever we say, I do not want my child to see the, mobile and other things. We'll end up saying. See, yesterday, today we have exam. We call it as B. She has an exam. But 3 of us watched 2 to 3 movies. Like, we were just on the sofa. We ate, we watched. Sometimes, we have to sit back. We are not getting away from the TV and YouTubes and all. Like in all these movies, we picked it up from the OTP. OTT.
Very common.
I think we use a lot of OTPs. And then, like sometimes, yesterday I went to the regular mode of cable TV wala, I realized that, like usually when there is an ad in the YouTube, we skip. But yesterday she didn't have an option to skip. She was enjoying all the ads. So to all the moms, I think I will say when we feel stuck, we will get stuck. That's the only option. Because recognition, accolades will not come every day. If it comes every day, that is, I don't know. You will say, I don't want this. So when there is a problem, like for example, I have this WhatsApp community where and a lot of, women, they just said, hey, I'm really bugged up. He said, come. what is new in your life? Come, what is new? Everything is the same. So I think sometimes we just have to accept that this is not going ahead. Pause and come back. But again, we have to define our financial needs also, how it is.
What are the silly things you do with your daughter?
We hit each other. We play with each other. We just paint. There's one wall in the room. We just paint. We fight. I think most of the time, I think I would have told today about the fighting, because either we play badminton and she will give extra score for herself. She will not give it to me, and I fight with her. Like, this is unfair.
Yeah.
So all these things, all the silly things, we'll just chuma go down and come back, and sweet corn. She loves sweet corn a lot, so we get some sweet corn stuff. And she loves baking and cooking.
Okay.
So she loves to make salad. So something she will make. Given a choice, if I tell her no TV, no YouTube, nothing, you can find her in the kitchen.
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And when she's scared or sad, how do you cheer them up?
I just listen to her for some time why she's scared.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that listening helps.
Yeah.
And they will move on.
Move on, yeah.
Fear is there about studies, marks and all. I tell her, like, see, that fear is important.
Yeah.
If that fear is not there, you will not know the seriousness of why we are asked to study. But having said that, marks is not the only thing. Today, if I and Appa, we are in a good position, we studied. Whatever was capable enough from our side, we did that. We were not high scorers, but we are here today doing good. You will also do well, but it's important that the discipline of homework, if it's given, that day you finish it. Because the more you carry forward, this will continue throughout. Yeah. Because life lessons, so they will not understand. They're already very good at that. They will give us PhD. So, fear is there, sometimes. The peer pressure I feel these days children have, when they see other children getting, because up until first standard, they don't know like first rank and second rank. And when they see in the fourth and fifth, someone is getting appreciation, someone is getting star of the week, and I don't get it. It's like a bud cringing. But that's the time we have to say, it is okay. But why you think you didn't get? I said, then she might say, I didn't do this. So I said, then you have the answer. I don't have the answer. So sometimes I think, Neha, if a child do not get that appreciation, accolades at the early stage, right? 5 to 5th standard, 6th standard. One is, it is preparing them to accept the no's in their life, and also to know the root cause. I didn't get because of these. So that will help them they themselves will come with the resource and the solution. But they shouldn't get complacent. As a parent only, that's why we have to say this is not for them. They shouldn't think that, there are two schools of thought. Sometimes they will say, okay, this is what I will get. Let me continue with that. I think that thing we have to let them know that. I mean, not necessary that everyone will, fly the rocket, right? It's okay. Sometimes Diwali ke time mein, if you fly the rocket is enough sometimes. But if you are meant to be someone who are into creating, a business, or it might be someone you have to get into a teaching line, or you have to get into some other business or this one, pick it up. I think that's because I tell my daughter, I tell her one thing, that study well, because it is important, because that's a basic need. Studying is
as a duty, as a student, that's your basic duty.
Having a graduation in your hand, and you creating opportunities for yourself and doing your higher studies, it will make you realize that you can do it builds confidence for you. But that doesn't mean this marks only is going to be everywhere. But if in case you're preparing for some competitive, marks has to be there, right? Well, I don't know what she wants to pick it up. From what I see, she is more into, love creating, all these pain, other things. So I think as a mother, I should look for avenues which will give her opportunities in that particular space. And it is too early for me to comment, or am I, putting the thing in the back burner and telling, let her. So it's a mix-up game.
You don't know.
Sometimes it's like, I'm playing volleyball, football. For all the mothers, I'm playing rugby, cricket in the same stadium.
Coming back to happiness, the Finnish secret to happiness is knowing when you have enough, right?
Yeah.
How does one know?
Less is more. Because what we can manage, only we can handle.
Correct.
In the name of gaining lots, in the name of getting everything, I mean, we can hold only so much.
Yeah.
I mean, we can give talks on, like, what is that? Aim higher. Then you aim for the moon, and then you would land up on the Mount Alps. I mean, it's okay, but it's like this, when we fill the water in the water bottle. If we fill beyond that certain, it will fall down.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whether when we're going to sip it like this or when we just open the cap, it is going to fall down. I would say even sometimes if it is filled 3/4, you still have some space to refill after some time. So less is more. Some people who might listen to this, they might think, Meera, don't you think you need to really look at so many things? I would say, like, I can manage these. I will run my show within this. This is going to give me what I am looking for. Mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, and financial abundance.
Yeah.
I feel it's a gratitude and blessing. I should run that with that.
True. And do you agree with the notion money can't buy happiness?
It can buy. Money can buy. See, if some sari which I really love, I want to wear, I get the money and get that happiness.
But that's temporary, right?
Yeah. No, permanent happiness, no. Sometimes, like they say, we aspire for certain things, but you need to pay for that. So it could be money or effort.
Okay. And how do you strengthen your happiness muscles?
I don't know what I'm doing. It's sometimes challenging. So I sometimes I go crazy about, oh no, why, what and all. But the next time I think, okay, if not me, who's going to do this? Certain things. Just pull up your sleeves, keep on going.
And live now, right?
Yeah. Live now and also think about little what is required financially. The financial thought keeps running in my mind. Like I'm doing this in this particular time. What is the amount? What I can do? So not for everything, but we need to think.
Yeah. Is it possible that practices that lead to happiness, like accepting anxiety, avoiding comparison with others, and being satisfied, it can also lead us to complacency?
It can sometimes because like anxiety will be there most of the time. It could be because of the work or the comparison. I would say I would not say don't make comparison. Even if we teach ourselves, like I shouldn't compare, we'll end up comparing ourselves to some or the other thing. But that is a time we need to have some anchors in our mind and in our thoughts that this comparison has come. Should I look into it or shouldn't I look into it? I think that's the reason those days in our schools, like kisne kaha, who said this, in what situation the person said, is it required, not required? All these questions used to be there a lot from the comprehensive passages, right?
Yeah.
So I think let us apply the same thing. Even in the corporate, for example, when we go to the finance department for funding for one particular project, they will ask us the first question, do you require it now? Why do you need it? For whom is it? So how much will you make revenue out of this? Okay, revenue. How much profit will you make out of it? Similarly, when we make a comparison, it is worth making a comparison. What return is it going to give? If it is something like your services and the other company is looking into the same area and you feel like you're doing something better than that, okay, make a comparison to understand how they do rather than pushing yourself into a cocoon and saying that, no, I'm not doing anything. They are doing great. I cannot do that. Because that will not mentally help us move.
Yeah.
Because competition, I think right from my school days, I used to take part in the quiz and all. You have 2-3 people, right? Someone will answer. So that's been Meera for that matter. Competition is good, but sometimes if I'm really pushed into it, yes, I do take up that challenge. But otherwise, I'm a kind of a person, okay, like, fight or flight. Sometimes I take a flight because if I have to put in a lot of my mind, energy, I mean, it is worth putting that time just to prove. I just move on.
Yeah.
Move on, matlab, just leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be grumpy with myself for some time, but heal.
Social media, Instagram offer infinite capacity for comparisons, negative comparisons.
Yeah.
Would quitting social media be the most important thing one could easily do to increase happiness?
Not always.
No?
No, quitting, like it's something like, there is something, like a threat I see, do I call it a threat? Yeah, like in social media, like someone, we start comparing. Since I am unable to handle that comparison, I quit from that place. Like I said, flight sometimes okay. But social media, when a person comes back again after a month, after a year also, they will see, oh, see, this person has done so much, I shouldn't have quit also might come. So let us call a time, like so-and-so time, let me see. Social media, see, if we are making a comparison in terms of the vacations they went to, that can never be satisfied. That can never be satisfied. Like I might go to like Mysore. Some might go to Lakshadweep. So today, if I'm unable to go to Lakshadweep, I cannot say I went to Mysore and I wasted my money, right? So what we can, like I say, like how much we can, let us take that in the hand. So when the social media, that negative comments and things come into play, when we feel we are not doing as per others, right? Like for example, there's a lot of sports people who say, I don't look into social media a lot. If we have never had an account, that's a different thing altogether, because it doesn't matter. After having an account and you feel I want to quit, quit. That is okay. But once you again come back sometime in the future, or if in case you chose to at least check on your browser, not on the app also, it should be like, hey, fine, that's okay. Because I think we are going to live with all these things only. Unlike in our parents' time when they say, don't do this, we didn't do this. They used to like, this is not required. We never used to venture into. But here it is like, we are in social media. So it is like, I say social media a blessing as well as a disguise. So how we take it as a blessing. See, many people who run their business, many people who sell like on Instagram, for example, many products, they need that. So their business runs on the basis of likes and shares and the comments. So how we manage is important. But if we think only social media as a place to share, okay, keep it only as a time pass. I share and come back. But if we get into comparison, I think nobody can satisfy anybody.
True.
Yeah.
Is there a particular experience or story that led you to write about the displacement of pride and identity?
Okay.
Because you've said happiness lies in accepting pride and identity's displacement.
Yes, corporate job.
How can individuals learn to accept this acceptance in real life?
When I wrote this...
embrace this.
Yes, true. When I wrote this, I was having this identity crisis, what we talk about, right? After quitting... we are at home and, like you're doing something and writing about it. People say, yes, nice, I can relate to it. And bit of a money which comes in through other work and other things. But still, like I feel the corporate, that, so what is that? not 5 by 5 will be too much here. So that square feet amount, the chair, the rolling chair, the system, and you just close it, go have coffee and come back, the tag name that you carry. All of a sudden you are at home, with sambar over here and chutney here. Then you uncombed, like hair, and you're like, that was a pride. This is a displacement. We all go through it. So I would say this will come every now and then go.
And you still be happy, huh?
Accept it, because I chose to do this now. Let me go with it. I still remember the days when I used to go with the open hair, and now I just bun it up, because when motherhood started, right, it was easy for me to manage it.
Absolutely. I do that.
Because when it is, because I have this little wavy and little curl mix, and it becomes a course for me to manage. Bun it up, because sometimes we might think I'm not doing it like others, but it's okay. Bun it up. It is easy to manage. I get a lot of free air to go. Fine. I'm good enough. So that's again, Because when you go to the corporate, like as millennials, right, that we were, I think, the first people who got this opportunity, that AC, this the place to work, carry the laptop bag, or at least that, fancy handbags, and you dress up and you just go, and suddenly at home you're like, oh my God. You might feel like, people who come to work are far better than what you're, So that's a pride and displacement.
Also when you get comfortable in this home look, right? Then you find it hard to go back for a...
Exactly. Like, this is easy.
In a world focused on speaking and being understood, you emphasize listening to a child, nature, elders. Why do you think listening is so important, and how can we become better listeners?
I've had this comment sometimes, like I don't listen in the family, but outside people say I listen.
I know that feeling.
So at home, they say, you're not listening. I said, okay, you're also not listening. So I think home is the only place a dinosaur can be in the Jurassic world. And when the dinosaur steps out of the home, from home outside, it goes in a tuxedo. They become like, oh, yeah, a makeover dinosaur. But at home, many times I don't listen. Then I realize like I want to be heard, right? Same happens with the other person. I also want you to hear me. So this, like I say in tu mame in Hindi, this will continue always.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't listen to my child. She doesn't listen to me. So I told her, you don't listen, I don't listen to you.
Yeah.
So it's a funny way of connecting. I expected, like, listen to me. It didn't work. It doesn't work either. I do that even with my elders. Can you please listen? No. So then that's when I realized home is the only place. Like in a movie also in Malayalam, I saw, that's where the guy, the protagonist, the hero says, home is the only place where I can be the way I want to be. Right? But having said that doesn't mean like we be all the time lioness.
Yeah.
Which controls the lion. Sometimes we have to be that crazy monkey, can jump around all the branches. Listening is hard. Let me tell you. There are many coaches who speak about it. Many people when someone is listening, they might say, I'm a listener, they might say, but how much are we listening to our own voice is a question. We might sometimes listen to what others are sharing, but we're not listening to what our mind is telling. Because at home, always, whether it is a 50-year-old child or a 5-year-old child or a 70 or a 90-year-old child, everyone wants to be heard. So at home, it's always a bad listening that goes.
Yeah,
but that's where we find our connect.
But how can we become better listeners? Like, what do you feel?
When they say, "Na, please listen," you have told, then I listen. It's a funny way though. Yeah. This works for me. Attachment, it works always.
Yeah. No, I think I personally did a course in Parivartan.
Okay.
There's an institute here in Bangalore, and they had this listening skills program actually. It was really nice actually. It was on Zoom, and I was wondering, I was curious how they'll do this. But it was really nice. They used to do this role play and where they would put us in breakout rooms.
Yes.
And, we would practice listening. Nice.
See, that's what I felt, when I went to the Zoom meetings and all these sessions, right? I got all this enlightenment.
Yeah.
Once I stepped into, like in the reels you might have seen, you would see a woman coming in with a suit coat, coat and all. And as soon as she steps into it, she'll be having, broomstick and bucket in her hand. It sounds funny. So much of learning we get from outside. The workshop, it's a controlled environment, right? Even if we want to hit someone, we'd say, I feel like hitting you, but I cannot hit you. But you can't say that. I'm going to hit you. So I think most of the time at home, this is what happens. Everybody goes out and comes back home only to share what has happened. Of course, I have good listeners at home. Yeah.
So last question, what
Sure,
advice would you give someone who feels disconnected in a world dominated by digital communication, like social media and all that we spoke? How can they discover the beauty in gestures, expressions, and silence?
Just look at the mirror. Honestly, I mean, it is okay if you are not on social media. Absolutely fine. But if it is a thought, like, I'm not there on the social media, and it's like, oh God, I am not there. Only I am not there. So go break your presence over there, put some photos and come back. But when we feel, my gestures and like you said, their expressions, I mean, each of us have our own beauty the universe has given through our parents. How we want to carry it. Women, more than men, I feel, women have this habit. Men have limited hair. Do I say limited hairstyle? I'm sorry. We have a lot of hairdos they make. But women always have sometimes, see her. What am I wearing? So I think, like in the DNA, right? This information gets scripted not once or twice, 100 times. So I would say embrace the way we look. It is not just easy that I tell and go. I have faced, many a times some, discrimination based on the color, tu aisi hai. I used to cry about it because that's the truth. I used to cry about it. I used to apply a lot of talcum powder and go and to see. But today I don't wear any of these things on my face. Only thing that takes care of my face is the moisturizer, which can protect my skin. That acceptance came late, But thanks to parents, because I came home crying. My father, I used to tell, my mom is a decoction and my father is a milk. Like I'm a product, I'm a coffee. So that acceptance came long. But everything, like my appa used to say, it doesn't matter. My granny, she was a pinky girl. Okay, like, and she's like, I used to feel bad about it. Obviously, when everyone in the class, or most of them, have the nice texture. So accepting the skin tone has to come first. That's why I think they used to say, get into the skin of the character. That's when we will know what the pain and the happiness of the other person is. So I think, like, it is like whatever kind of a nose and the eyes and this we have, we were to have that only. So if you really want to have that extra money to get something, make a changeover, do that. But if you can live in that skin, do that. That's all I would say.
Thank you so much, Meera. It was so much fun knowing about your experiences and learnings. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you so much, Neha. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.